Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the MundaneMatt Show, and today is the 30th of August, 2018, and man, Labor Day weekend's almost here. A nice, solid 4-day break. What are you guys going to do? I'm hoping that you're going to be out there barbecuing, getting drunk, having a good old time, maybe getting some gaming on, right? It's going to be a good long weekend for gaming. Finish up everything you've been working on over the summer. Spider-Man drops in just a couple days. I think just a week, actually, until that one drops if you got a PS4. And otherwise, it's going to be a fun gaming weekend. I know it is for me because I'm going to be in Seattle for Penny Arcade Expo, PAX Prime 2018. That's where I'm going to be at. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to get up there, seeing some friends of mine. Some of the YouTubers are going to pop in. Chris Reagan's going to be there. Jeff Holliday's going to be there. The Gas from Drunken Peasants, Mr. Repsion. If you don't know who these people are, you are missing out. They are good peeps, good content creators here on the platform, and people who I am very happy to call friends. But man, it's going to be a fun weekend, just full of games and stuff. And the reason why I'm bringing it up, the reason why I kind of have to talk about this one just right off the bat is Battlefield 5 has now been delayed. A new release date has been announced. It's now coming out in November. Now, this was a kind of a shock. Not one that people are like, oh, no, I have to wait another month for Battlefield 5. It's more like, yeah, we understand it. We get it, EA. You've had some bad press recently. Yeah, the pre-orders have been weak. The SJW influence on the game is duly noted. Patrick Sunderland telling gamers that they're dumb or they're not smart enough or intelligent enough to play the game has in fact backfired. It is one of those get woke, go broke situations, and now we find out that it's being held off until November. It says here in the article, Battlefield 5 has been delayed. The World War II shooter will now launch for PS4, Xbox One, and PC on November 20th. EA confirmed. The company says that the delay will give developer DICE additional time to fine-tune the game as it sees fit. And look, I'll be honest on this one. That's actually for the best. I think that's for the best. I don't think anyone out there is going to disagree with that. Battlefield games, Battlefront games, they come out, right? They're hard release date. They can't move it. And then they have the patches and they have the twerks. And they've got, by that time, gamers' goodwill sometimes gets whittled down a little bit because people are just like, oh, yeah, I don't know if I want to wait through that. I'll wait till it drops in sales again or drops in price and they've updated it a bit more. And that's not how companies like EA make their money. So it does make sense they're going to want to do this. Now, it goes on to say that we're going to take the time to continue to make some final adjustments to core gameplay and to assure we really deliver on the potential of the new Battlefield Live service, Tides of War. We know moving the launch date means we'll have to wait a little longer, but we're going to take our time to make sure we get it right. Which is true. They want to make sure they get it right. Now, the game was previously scheduled to come out on October 19th, meaning that the delay is just 1 month, but it does put it out of the sights of not only Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Red Dead Redemption 2, and it does mean that it's going to be coming out after Hitman and Fallout 76, which, quite frankly, those are the only games this holiday season I'm looking forward to. Red Dead, Hitman, and Fallout. So the way I look at it's like this. Battlefield 5, like I said, it's run into its own share of problems. Them trying to operate on the SJW spectrum for this type of stuff is not going to work out. Gamers don't want that. They don't want politics in their games that's so direct and heavy-handed. You can have politics and talk about certain issues, but they want it conveyed through a story, and they're not getting that. They're getting a trailer where you've got a resistance person. I don't know her gender. I'm not going to assume it. With the prosthetic arm wielding a bolt action rifle. It's just, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, okay. Now, people who played the beta like the beta, and they're going to have the beta here coming out, I think, next week as well. So more people will be playing it. But I have a feeling the reason why they're delaying it is because they're going to make sure that their Battle Royale mode is set to go at launch. Because with Blops 4, they've got Blackout. That's coming out at launch. People are looking forward to that. And I think Battlefield realizes, or the DICE realizes, that if they don't have that at launch, then that's going to seriously hinder them. They're going to become like the Titanfall 2 of this year. And this is a Battlefield game, and so you don't want it to be the Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 that game got screwed, but I've talked about that before too. So the whole point with this essentially is that Battlefield is in desperate need of being tweaked. A month delay seems about the right type, the right amount of time. It gives players a chance to kind of get into Call of Duty, get out of Call of Duty if they don't like it, play some Fallout 76, play some Hitman, get through Red Dead Redemption, and then by the time it's getting closer to Christmas, closer to the winter break, so to speak, then they're itching for something new. They're itching for something more realistic, more gritty, and more fun. And of course, that's going to be Battlefield. So that is probably a better take, and I think it's going to save them in the long run. I do think this is a good move, even if a lot of other people are not very happy with it. Actually, I haven't seen any person talk about this that's been like, no. Everyone's like, yeah, no, I get it. So when the general consensus is everyone gets it, you know that you're in a better place overall. Now let's talk about this a story that is officially 4 years old now, and that would be the Fappening. If you don't remember the Fappening, you weren't around in 2014. August 2014 was an insane time. Not only was it the start of Gamergate, but also the Fappening happened, which was when a whole bunch of celebrity nudes were leaked out there, and Jennifer Lawrence was, I think, the creme de la creme of what was released. That was what everyone was looking at. That's what was sought after the most. And now, 4 years later, because it took this amount of time, the hacker who participated in this has been sentenced to prison. George Garofano, 26, one of 4 charged with illegal hacking of American actor and other celebrities, saying here that a hacker was sentenced to 8 months in prison on Wednesday for a scheme that exposed intimate photos of the actor Jennifer Lawrence and other celebrities. George Garofano, 26, was accused of illegally hacking the private Apple iCloud accounts of 240 people, including Hollywood stars, as well as average internet users, allowing their nude photos and private information to be spread around the internet. Now, doxing is a cunt move. I don't care. It's a cunt move. If you do it, you're a cunt. Okay? C-U-N-T, cunt. And the Fappening it was a really bad thing. I still love the name. The name is hysterical to me, but yeah, the what happened is bad. Now, he was one of 4 people charged in the 2014 hacking scandal, which private photos of Jennifer Lawrence, Kate Upton, Kirsten Dunst, and others published online. Lawrence said at the time that the invasion was equivalent to a sex crime and called for tougher laws. And there have been revenge porn laws that have been tightened. Oregon has a revenge porn law that went into effect in 2016. Interestingly enough, the first person to be convicted under that was a dude who was actually really active in Gamergate in the first couple months. Yeah, he was a weird guy. Anyway, the federal judge at a U.S. district court ordered Garofano to serve the prison term, followed by 3 years of supervised release. He pled guilty in April, admitting that he sent emails to the victims while posing as a member of Apple's online security personnel in order to obtain their usernames and passwords. Now, I do want to kind of add in on that one there, because I did talk about this before. When I worked in Hollywood, I worked for I did some temp work for a flower shop. And every day I'd get phone calls from celebrities' assistants, executives' assistants, things like that. And they would always have to be changing their information. Identity theft in Hollywood runs rampant because the assistants are so stupid. It's not that they're stupid individuals, it's that they're not tech savvy. And so they fall for this because they're the ones that basically control everyone's stuff. And that's what I assume happened here, even though nobody wants to kind of go into the nitty gritty of how this phishing scandal got as big as it did. It's because of human error of people who simply just don't know any better, which is so sad in and of itself. Now, prosecutors argued for 10 to 16 months of prison. Garofano asked for leniency, requesting no more than 5 months in prison and another 5 months of home confinement. The prosecution wrote in a sentencing memo to the court, Mr. Garofano's offense was a serious one. He illegally hacked into his victims' online accounts, invaded their privacy, stole their personal information, including private and intimate photos. He did not engage in this conduct on just one occasion. He engaged in it over 240 times over the course of the past 18 months. And that is just insane. Now, Garofano has already suffered serious consequences. And he says here that he began doing this when he was in college, and he has since cleaned up his act. And I don't know, man. I mean, that's one of the things. It's been 4 years, right? 4 years since it happened. He's already been in trouble for a long time. I mean, is 8 months too short? I kind of think it's too short, to be honest with you. Identity theft is a real bad thing. The Fappening was a bad thing. there are people out there that are going to be like, oh, yeah, no, that was excellent stuff there. I had a lot of fun with the Fappening, which I'm sure you did. I'm sure you lived up to its namesake. But at the same time, the identities and the intimate photos and the private information of the people that were involved did get out there. And I have been doxxed a couple times now, full on dox. And so I get it. It's not something that you ever want to have happen. And as a result of that, you know what? I'm actually more on the harsher punishment side here, because this was, this was someone's personal information getting out there, all for the sake of just being malicious. And that's, but I mean, then again, he's been in trouble for a while. It's kind of a hard thing to decide. I leave it to you guys to let me know your thoughts on this one. Now, this next story, it also kind of ties back into to August 2014. I feel like August never ends. It's funny who says that one time. Zoe Quinn said that in a blog post, I think in 2015. She wrote a year retrospective over Gamergate for that year, first year. And she's like, August never ends. And here we are at the end of August 2018. And yeah, maybe to an extent, August has in fact never ended. Now, and the reason why I'm bringing that up is because we have good old Wil Wheaton. If you don't know Wil Wheaton, good. Congratulations, you win a prize. If you've ever been involved in anything geek-related, you know Wesley Crusher, right? You know evil Wil Wheaton from The Big Bang Theory, although you shouldn't ever know who that is, and I feel bad that I know who that is. But Wil Wheaton got really, 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 really butthurt on Twitter for refusing to block Alex Jones a couple weeks ago. So he decided he was going to take his toys and he was going to go home, right? He was going to take his toys and he was going to go home. So he left Twitter, left his couple million follower account behind and decided to move over to his platform here called mastadon.cloud. Now, mastadon.cloud, as we can see here, is it's a social networking site. It looks like Twitter, right? But coming down here, it says Mastodon is a social network based on open protocols and free and open source software. It is decentralized email. With 500 characters at your disposal and a support for granular content and media warnings, you can express yourself in the way you want to. Saying here, you are a person, not a product. Mastodon is not a commercial network. No advertising, no data mining, no walled gardens. There is no central authority. And it's a more human approach, learning from the failures of other networks. Mastodon aims to make ethical design choices to combat the misuse of social media. Hey, I'm actually 100% behind the concept of this particular site. And this is Wil Wheaton's Mastodon account. Now we can see here that it's locked and it's only got 3,900 followers, and there's a reason for that. He's been booted off the platform. Now the thread goes all the way down over here. We're going to read it. It says, I've been notified by an admin here that they are getting 60 reports a day about my account. As far as I can tell, I'm not breaking any rules and I've done my best to be a good person here. But this admin is going to suspend my account. It is the admin's instance, so I fully support their choice to eliminate the source of frustration. But something to consider, a person who's doing nothing wrong can be run off one instance by a mob from another instance. That seems not cool. But it's been made very, very clear to me that I'm not welcome in the Fediverse, and I hear you. I hope to find an alternative to the Bird site where I could find the same fun community that's existed over there in the beginning, and it's clear to me that I won't be finding that. Before I leave, I just want to make something clear. Because I spent most of my life being yelled at by people who don't know me at all, I want the record to be clear. During Gamergate, I was dogpiled and mobbed and brigaded and attacked by thousands of accounts. I started using a block list that was supposed to help stop that. I didn't know that the block list I signed up for also had a lot of trans women on it. When I found out, I did everything I could to remove those women from the list I shared. When there was still innocents on that list, I stopped sharing the list entirely. Despite this, a mob decided that I'm anti-trans. This line that I'm anti-trans or anti-LGBT, LGBTQ, he left out the T? Oh, that's so anti-trans, Will. That's so you just completely dismiss them. You unpersoned them, Will, you bastard. Okay, so he says, this is all hurtful to me. I know it's nothing like the pain LGBTQ people face every single day as they simply try to exist in a world that treats them so badly, but it's still hurtful to me in its own way to me. I just want to make it clear this is a lie and the people spreading it are misinformed. So I'm leaving the Fediverse, which has treated me with more cruelty, vitriol, hatred, and contempt than anyone on the Bird site ever did. I know that I'm well off, well known, and a cis white hetero dude in America. I live life on the lowest difficulty setting. I know I have very little to complain about, but I still have feelings, and I really do care about the world and the people in it. When I see a lot of anger and cruelty directed at the idea of me from people who I just hope don't realize that it really does hurt me in my heart to be accused of being someone I'm not and to be the target of a hateful mob. Anyway, take your victory lap and collect your prizes. You've made it clear that I'm not welcome here, even though I disagree with the actions this admin is taking. Banning me when I didn't break the rules doesn't seem right. I respect and support the admin's decision to run their instance the way they see fit. Please do your very best to be kind to each other. The world is a terrible place right now, and that's largely because it is what we make it by. Bye, Will. Bye. Bye. Okay. So not only is that utterly hysterical, because it is utterly hysterical, it's ironic in so many ways. Now, what you have to understand about this block list that Will was running, the block list was compiled by I don't know what you'd want to call her, a dev named Randy Harper. And she created the anti-GG block list, or the GG block list, back in the fall of 2014. And all the block list was just scraping the follower lists of people who, followed Milo Yiannopoulos or followed maybe even me or Total Biscuit or whatever back in the day. And that was what the list was. So we were all blocked from people who were sharing this block list. Will was a big proponent of it. It was pinned to his Twitter feed for a long time. And then sometime around, I want to say mid last year or something like that, he decided to unblock everybody and then he went back and blocked everybody again. Although that might have been while he was trying to clean up the block list that had over 20,000 people on it. So then he leaves Twitter and he comes here and he gets accused of being transphobic because there were trans women that were on the block list that he shared. Now, for one, that is just so stupid. That is such a level of entitlement in regards to this whole thing. Right. It just, to me, it's hysterical because it's just so damn ridiculous. If you're on the block list, yes, it's stupid. You're getting blocked for something you haven't inherently done, which is the irony here in and of itself. But at the same time, calling him transphobic because someone else created a block list and he pushed it is just ridiculous. Again, it's hypocrisy on both sides here. It's irony on both sides. It's hysterical on both sides. And Will now knows what it's like to be blamed for shit he didn't do. He knows what it's like to be blamed for things he didn't do, and then to be held accountable for things he didn't do. And then he's like, "But I didn't do this. I didn't do any of this." Yeah, you didn't. You probably didn't. But welcome to the party, pal. Welcome to the fucking party. All right. I just imagine this is his Sergeant Al Powell moment. Right, he's driving the squad car to check out Nakatomi Plaza right quick before going home to his pregnant wife, and then a body hits the top, and then gunfire hits it, and there's Bruce Willis going, "Welcome to the party, pal." That's what's going on right now. This is his Sergeant Powell moment, and soon, I don't think this is going to be a redemption arc, by the way, for Wil Wheaton. I don't think he's gonna be like, all of a sudden like put on an eye patch, start going by punished Wil Wheaton on Twitter, and then come back and fight against the SJWs that so gratefully wronged him. But this is part of the culture that he's created, part of the culture he supported, part of the culture that he was very, very, very happy being a part of until it was turned against him. And that's something that he's going to have to deal with, something he's going to have to live with. And the rest of us are going to have to look at this too and probably laugh to an extent. But I do think what it does, and I'll be honest here, I do think what it does is I think it actually should serve as a life lesson to not only Will, but to many people. Because when you engage in shit like this online, there is somebody on the other side. Right? And not everyone on the internet is guilty of everything that you think they're guilty of. And that should be taken into account. It's rarely taken into account because, as Mark Twain said, a lie will make its way, will be halfway around the world before the truth has the chance to put on its pants. I butchered that entirely, but that's what it is. So I don't feel bad for Will. In essence, I empathize a little bit, but I'm not going to sit there and be like, "Oh, Willy boy, Willy, Will." If anything, I just want to send him the picture of the porn couch for his tabletop series that was also used to, porn, which that's funny. I hope he sat on the wet spot. Oh, Wil Wheaton again, get fucked. All right, so finally today, this is one that I think is fascinating. I've covered this many times over the course of 2017 when we dealt with the Kesha situation. Now, the Kesha situation, if you don't know, is that she had accused her former producer, a guy by the name of Dr. Luke, of sexual harassment, abuse, rape, all these sorts of things, and went to court with him. And basically she said that Sony and Dr. Luke had prevented her from reclaiming her name and going out there and being Kesha, because there was a big cry for that. So there was a big hashtag. Free Kesha was a big thing. A lot of people were talking about it. But when you start looking into the story, when you start looking into the information, it all kind of falls apart. Now, at the time, she had claimed that Dr. Luke had raped her. However, she then said under oath in a deposition that he never did, but then recanted that later on and was trying to say that she wasn't telling the truth. And then Sony was like, listen, we're under a seven album deal. We'll work with you. We'll give you a new producer. We'll work with you to get these things out, to get you out of your contract. And she turned that down too. So everyone was willing to work with her, even though there was like no evidence to back up these claims. But she, had the media. This is before Me Too, by the way. Had this been during Me Too, I think it would have been an entirely different outcome. But this was before Me Too, so it's kind of in its own right. But the reason I'm talking about it today is because Katy Perry was drug into it, right? Katy Perry was drug into it. And then we find out, Katy Perry reveals she wasn't raped by Dr. Luke in a deposition. So this is where, again, it takes another twist, right? So like Kesha says he's a rapist. Katy Perry potentially says it. Then we find out that it's not true at all, because apparently behind closed doors, when they're telling the truth, because there's threat of an actual legal action being used against you, they just, they tell the truth finally. Jesus. Now, it says here that in a deposition unsealed on Monday regarding the court case between Kesha and music producer Dr. Luke, Katy Perry allegedly denied the accusation that she was reportedly raped by Luke. The accusation was introduced to the court through a text message that Kesha reportedly sent to Lady Gaga in February 2016, which was presented to the court during the ongoing trial. It was brought to the public's attention earlier this summer, and Katy Perry had previously not commented on the sexual assault allegation until now. So Kesha used a text message from Kesha to Lady Gaga to prove that Dr. Luke raped Katy Perry. Am I the only one that thinks it just sounds like the most ridiculous soap opera of all times? It's just terrible. It's just so stupid. Katy Perry's deposition was reportedly contained in court documents acquired by People. The document was allegedly from July 21st, and it claims that the musician repeatedly shut down the accusation made in Kesha's text. The allegation was revealed during the court battle that between Dr. Luke and Kesha, where the pop musician claimed that she was reportedly given drugs against her will and sexually assaulted by the producer. He's denied these allegations for months while the trial continues to commence, and his legal team has recently spoke out against these allegations. Now, this is what Dr. Luke's attorney says here. The false narrative Kesha created about being raped became widely accepted, damaging Dr. Luke's reputation. Compounding this malicious act in 2016, Kesha told Lady Gaga that Dr. Luke raped Katy Perry, which is outrageous and untrue. Katy Perry testified under oath in this case that Dr. Luke never raped her. Regardless, Kesha refused to apologize. Instead, she issued a press release again in which irresponsibly suggests that Katy Perry was actually raped by Dr. Luke. It seems that Kesha wanted to perpetuate the falsehood that Dr. Luke raped Katy Perry. Why is this? Because, I'm in Me Too, I think. I think Me Too was a big part of this. And as a result, it just kind of, it got crazy. Now, Kesha's attorney responded saying this: with regard to Dr. Luke's claim that Kesha defamed him by falsely stating he also assaulted Katy Perry, Kesha has never claimed to have any independent knowledge of any alleged assault of Katy Perry, which Ms. Perry has denied in later deposition. But to be clear, Dr. Luke is suing Kesha based on private one-on-one text message that Kesha sent to Lady Gaga in 2016. Shortly after Interscope CEO John Janik told Kesha and Lady Gaga that he'd heard a rumor about Dr. Luke had also abused Katy Perry. Mr. Janik's statement was discussed privately between two friends and would have never become public, except that Dr. Luke decided to publish it to millions of people in his 2017 complaint against Kesha. This defamation claim based on private text message, which was the statement of a third party, is also frivolous. Look, I mean, obviously Kesha's lawyers are going to come into this thing and they're like, oh, we gotta protect their client, which I understand entirely. That being said, everything about this has basically been like Kesha lied, is what it seems like. Because it doesn't matter if Dr. Luke had to make that a public document, right, when he filed it. There was defamation going around. There was a text message that she had sent that could be considered libel and defamation. And as a result, he's suing her for this thing that brought in Katy Perry. Katy Perry denied it. So if the text message exists, which apparently it looks like it does, if the text message exists that that from Kesha to Lady Gaga that says that Dr. Luke raped Katy Perry, then that could be, well, basically the linchpin, because Katy Perry denies it. And that's the whole part of this. Kesha has twisted facts and twisted things for years in this case, and refuses to, I think, accept any kind of responsibility for her actions. And it's just ridiculous stuff there. This is a lot of he said, she said, but the further down the rabbit hole you get, as evidence starts to come clear, it just, the widely accepted claim that Dr. Luke assaulted Kesha appears to be further and further from the truth. So we'll have to wait and see what happens next, but that's just an update I wanted to give. And with that, guys, that wraps up today's episode of the Mundane Matt Show. If you guys haven't already, please toss it a thumbs up. If you want to type in the word of the day today, Katy Perry. Why not? We'll do Katy Perry. It's the word of the day. Type that in the chat so I know you guys got this far. Check back tomorrow for another episode of the show. I will talk to you guys then. Have yourself a fantastic day, and peace out.